Olá, sou a Mariana Alvim. Bem-vindos ao Vale a Pena, o meu podcast onde falamos de livros favoritos e por vezes vamos da ficção para a realidade. Com o apoio da UC, a maior livraria online portuguesa. Fiquem por aí, vale a pena. Today with me I have Abigail Owen. She was born in Colorado and raised in Austin, Texas, where she now lives. She is a powerhouse in the world of romantasy and paranormal romance, blending myth, magic, sizzling chemistry into her stories. She's a #1 New York Times, a #1 USA Today, and international best-selling author of over 30 books. Her genres span from young adult epic romantasy to super spicy adult paranormal romance. And before writing full-time, she spent 15 plus years in tech and business roles. And also an ex-competitive skydiver and Jeopardy fanatic. Welcome, Abigail.
Thank you so much. I don't know about powerhouse, but thank you.
I Googled you. And also competitive skydiver.
Oh, I loved it so much. And I only stopped while my kids were little and there just was no time. But and now I'm like, oh, well, I could probably take it back up, but I don't know that my body bends that way anymore. So yeah, I loved it. I took it up in college.
Okay. I wouldn't do it even if I was paid.
Oh, I'm terrified of heights.
That's so ironic.
I know. My team members would tease me for I didn't like to sit next to the door of the plane. And they were like, do you have a parachute on and know what to do with it? And I was like, I'd rather it be a deliberate move. I don't want to...
On my accord.
Yeah.
So your stories, I'm still reading my research, often feature snarkly heroines, morally grey heroes, and happily ever afters, and all wrapped in fast-paced and magical plots. So you describe your writing process as a mix of plotting and pantsing, using a custom master beat sheet to guide your storytelling. I was going to ask you about that. You know, I've learned a lot from your book, and we'll get there, of course, and also get to know you as a reader. I've learned a lot from your book and also doing this research because the books you chose and even this pantsing, because I said, what's pantsing? So it's writing by the seat of your pants. And I was like, what's that? So it means that you write as you go along.
Yes, you let the story tell itself and you have no idea where it's going to take you. You haven't plotted anything. You let the characters tell you what they want to do next. That's pantsing.
You know where it comes from? Where it comes from? It comes from early aviation when pilots flew. Without instruments. So they had to trust their gut and feel the plane's movement through the seat of their trousers.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. I didn't realize that's where that phrase came from.
Wow.
How funny.
Yeah. And also airplanes again. Yes. So your latest book, you've written more than 30. Wow. And your latest book just arrived in Portugal, The Games God Play, Os Jogos dos Deuses. And I have to tell you why I learned so much. Because I wasn't a romantasy reader. It wasn't my genre. I'm a romantic reader, of course. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to read this. And it was a page turner.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I loved it. And I have to say, and I'll let you talk about the book, but I have to say that I was hooked, which is great. You know, when you have a full day and you're eager to go back to the book.
Yes.
And then it's the first of a trilogy.
Yes.
So I was suffering in advance. And I was, when you picture dialogues, and I was going to get angry at you because I said, you're not going to leave me with an open ending, with a cliffhanger. But you gave me closure. There's a cliffhanger, of course. The story goes on. And I'm eager to continue with Lyra or Lyra? Lyra and Hades.
Hades.
Okay, but I didn't know the accent.
In German, it's Hades. Yeah, and here it's Hutch.
Hutch, the god of death.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for the closure.
Oh, yes.
I needed it, and I'm no longer angry. And, and congratulations. And tell me about this Os Jogos dos Deuses.
So the way I describe it is Greek gods meets deadly trials.
Yeah.
In a world where the gods got sick of Zeus being king of the gods, and they kicked him off the throne. But it started a war that eventually leveled Olympus, and they were so devastated by that they implemented something called the Crucible Games, which every 100 years, the 12 gods of the pantheon each pick a human champion to fight for them in a series of trials.
Yeah.
And the human who wins the most games, their god or goddess becomes the king or queen of the gods for the next 100 years. So the throne is at stake.
And the humans are the ones that suffer.
All those poor humans, yes. And Hades has never participated. He's the king of the underworld. He doesn't need another realm to rule, but for the first time ever, for reasons of his own, he chooses to enter, and he picks Lyra as his champion, and then maybe falls in love with her in the process.
Maybe. I was suffering for them, and I love Lyra, of course. So you have all the ingredients here.
Oh, thank you.
You do. And I suffered, and sometimes I was like, they have a lot of games to overcome, to win, and then move on to the next, so that to decide who will rule the world. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, they got another game. And then I was again hooked. Oh, come on,
good,
get out of there.
I had so much fun writing the games. They were just maybe one of the most fun things I've done as world building is one of my favorite things to do as an author, and to be able to come up with each game for each individual god and think through all the different things that they would have tried to put together and then make it deadly, and so it was so fun.
That's why I find it hard to imagine of course you said you had a spreadsheet and lists, and you love lists.
I do,
because you have to have the plot beforehand. You have to know where you're heading and 12 games to decide what's going to happen then and who will win. But there's a lot of details. You cannot just write like pantsing.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in between. I started out as a pantser, and my very first book I wrote out of order. I just wrote the scenes I could see, and then I figured out a plot later to connect them. And I recommend that method at all. That was a longer, harder editing process for that one. But I also find that if I plot out too much of it at a time, I can't. It takes away kind of the joy of discovery as I'm writing. And so what I like to do is plot out just kind of I call them tent poles or major beats, where it's, around 25%, this major turning point is going to happen. Around 50%, this major turning point is going to happen. So I have those so I kind of know what I'm writing to, but then I let the story unfold as I go.
And you have over 30 books to practice that.
Yes, it took a while for me to perfect the technique.
So now let's get to know you a little better, but I recommend Os Jogos dos Deuses, the games gods play. And now 3 things that you said you like, and list is one of them.
Yes, I'm a big lister. I have ADHD. Okay. And so I can be very scatterbrained. And so if it's not written down, it's not going to get done.
It's a great way to defend yourself.
It is. Yeah, you didn't tell me anything. I don't remember whatsoever. But yeah, if I write everything down, then I get to it eventually at least. And so it's the only way I kind of stay organized.
Okay. So you remember what you told me about other things you love?
So many things.
You said lists. Chocolates.
Yes, I love chocolates. Chocolate is joy, is what chocolate is.
You wrote love in caps lock, capital letters.
I do. I love chocolate. Yes. It's, I've just got a huge sweet tooth. My mom made dessert every night while I was growing up. So yeah, and chocolate was huge.
And also comedians.
I do. I really enjoy stand-up comedy. I think, even more so than like watching funny movies or something like that. I like the way that they comment on the world. And I think I have found in life that it is much more pleasant to go through it laughing than it is crying. And so I would rather laugh at all the, if you can laugh or you can cry, I'd rather laugh.
It's like a comic relief for life.
It is, yeah.
And your books you chose, and we're going to get there. One of them has this huge comic relief. You have to explain that to me. But before, 2 things you don't like.
Peanut butter, I'm sure, is one of them. Yeah. I hate peanut butter, which is so un-American, I know. It's just so meh. And then it's all sticky and gooey, and the texture is meh. And so, yeah, I can't stand peanut butter.
I like that. It's un-American. And you don't like large utensils.
Large utensils. Like if there's a big spoon and a little spoon, I will always choose the little spoon. The big spoon does not, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't fit in your mouth well. It holds too much food. Small spoons. Yeah.
With all these books and all these tours and the comedian shows you have to watch and also on TV, when and where do you read?
I read a lot less than I used to. That has been maybe one of the things that has been a surprise and kind of a sadness about being an author. The longer I write, the harder it is for me not to try to edit the book in my head while I'm reading. And so I have to find books that just hook me from the beginning and then let me escape that. And so I'm very quick to put a book down, which is unfortunate because there's so many good books out there. And then I've been looking at words all day long by the time I get to when I read. And so I've gotten much more into audiobooks for that reason, because I can still absorb the story just in a very different medium. And so that's tends to be my preferred way to do it. These days it's while I'm traveling more than often than not. So airplanes and cars and
Yeah, they'll keep you company.
Yes.
So let's get to know Abigail the reader. First of all, you said that's how you discovered to combine your two favorite genres, romance and fantasy, was with Twilight.
Twilight, yeah. I had been reading romance, all genres of romance, and then I'd been reading fantasy and sci-fi as separate genres. And I had probably started and not finished about 30 books that I never finished. And all of those were contemporary romance books. And then Twilight came along and I went, oh, you can combine these. And that was just such a revelation. And I finished my first book in 6 weeks.
Wow.
So it just flew out of me. And again, it was out of order and I needed to figure out how to plot and I needed to figure out how to, describe anything.
And how old were you when you read Twilight?
I was about 30.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was later in life. It might have been it was right about 30 because I was on maternity leave with my son. And then wrote my first book while I was on maternity leave with my son.
Of course, it's so easy.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm being ironic.
Yeah, yes.
There's this sentence I love that if you want something well done, give it to someone busy.
Yes, so true. It went under the bed for several years, and then self-publishing became a thing. I was working full-time, 60 hours a week. I was getting my MBA degree, and my kids were 2 and 4 years old, and I thought that would be a great time to find an editor and figure out how to edit a book and self-publish it and do all that.
And you managed.
And I managed it, yeah. That was my escape from all the other responsibilities.
What were you doing? What's tech roles, what I mentioned earlier?
I was a business analyst for Intel for about 10 years, and so I was in spreadsheets and Numbers. Very different side of my brain.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So you practice both.
I do, and loved it. I had a great time working for them. I've got to say I love being an author more, but yeah, I really enjoyed working on that side of things. It's been nice because that allows me to do the business side of being an author, I think, more easily than some, friends of mine who are like, I can't stand doing this part. And I'm like, oh, I get a break from words and I get to do numbers now. Like,
and it explains the spreadsheet. It helps you. It makes it easier for you.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. To organize everything. I have a giant spreadsheet that has my sales data by month for every book since 2012.
Okay.
So I can see the patterns of things.
You have how many children?
2.
Do you have a spreadsheet like who makes their bed, who washes the kitchen?
They've had those, yeah. Usually in the summers when they're off, I'm like, we're doing the whole list. They get those. We do vacation spreadsheets.
Wow.
We do large purchase spreadsheets.
Please live with me for a month. That's great. So Twilight, all the 4 books, of course.
Of course. Oh yeah, all 4 books.
So other books you loved reading, and we're going back to fantasy, but before you chose Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand, and you said you cried so hard.
I did. That story was amazing. She does such an amazing job taking true life events and making them read, not like fiction, but just in that kind of flow of storytelling. And Louis Zamperini is who that's about, the Olympian and then World War II survivor, POW camps. His story is just amazing. And the fact that halfway through the POW camp, you're like, I think I'd rather be back in the sharks in the Pacific. It just tells you what he went through.
Yeah, he survived a bomber crash in the Pacific Ocean. He was there for 47 days. Then he was caught by the Japanese, and he suffered more in there than between the sharks.
Yes, the sharks were peaceful practically. Yes.
Yeah, so that's a true story, and she wrote the novel, the book about it, and now it's going to be a major motion picture.
I think they made it into a major motion. Angelina Jolie directed it. Yep.
So Zamborini's destiny, whether triumph or tragedy, depends on strength of his will. And so that's the story by Laura Hillenbrand. She also wrote Seabiscuit, and both books were adapted into films. And she is battling with chronic fatigue syndrome. And despite...
That's hard.
It is. So despite battling with this disease, she conducted interviews and research almost entirely from home, including hundreds of phone calls with Zamperini.
That's amazing. That's, yeah. But what an incredible life he led. And she just really brought it to life in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, so you recommend this book?
Oh, yes.
Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand. Now, the other book you chose, and I had to read this one. That's what I meant when I said I had to study about your books, because I didn't even know who Grand Admiral Thrawn was. The Timothy Zahn Thrawn Star Wars series.
Yes.
It's the spin-off, which means that the same characters, the same universe, but another story.
Continuing
parallel.
the story, it is.
Exactly.
I want to say it was the first, at least big, commercially successful kind of Star Wars spin-off book series long before they ever got to even the prequel movies. And so it just opened that world up even more. And he did such a fantastic job with the characters, I thought, and staying true to kind of the original movies and those characters and where that world might end up after all of that happened. It was so well done. But what I loved about those books is that's what got me into sci-fi and fantasy.
Okay.
And so that's really what started my love of that genre.
But why did you start with the books? Were you already a Star Wars fan?
I was already a big Star Wars fan, huge fan of the movies. They came out when I was little, and was talking to a guy in high school who was like, oh, if you liked the movies, you'll like this, and gave me the first book. And that's what got me started.
But there are a lot of series. You have 3 trilogies.
Oh, of mine?
Of the original Thrawn trilogy. The canon Thrawn. The Thrawn is the character.
Yep.
It's a blue guy with red eyes.
Yes.
Okay, and
he's very smart and strategic.
Exactly. He uses his brain rather than his force, and he still wins the Jedi.
Yes. Yeah. He's a very great villain.
Okay, so he still outsmarts Jedi.
But that original trilogy, if you're going to start with Thrawn, start on the original trilogy.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you, because you have 3. And you read them all.
I did, yeah. And it's been a long time, because that was back in high school. And then more and more Star Wars books came out. So there was a Jedi Academy books, but those weren't Timothy Zahn. So you get different authors, but still in the same world. And so it opens up a whole world of books. Okay,
so for those who are Star Wars fans, you have a trilogy, several actually. Thrawn Star Wars series by Timothy Zahn. And he's also like you, versatile. He studied physics, and he originally pursued a PhD in physics, but then he shifted to writing after his advisor passed away.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So he began publishing short stories in the late 70s and then became a full-time writer in 1980.
Oh. Well, he's done an amazing job at it. Yeah, good job, Timothy.
He listens to classical music while he writes. And he loves crossword puzzles and martial arts.
He and I would get along very well. I've decided we should be friends.
And he also won a Hugo Award, the prestigious Hugo Award, for the best novella for Cascade Point. It's a story about a faster-than-light jump gone wrong.
Oh, I haven't read that one yet. I'll have to read that.
Cascade Point. So another book you chose, and this is the one when I mentioned you like the comic relief in your life, and you have a huge comic relief in this book. And please, Abigail, explain this book to me, because it's a series. And it was like, when you research it, it was like, okay, but there's a cat, but there's a woman with a cat. No, it's a cat. Okay, but does it walk? No, it's on its 4 claws. Okay, so You've been devouring
It's the funniest.
the Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Beth Dinniman. And tell me about this crazy...
They're fantastic. I do the audiobooks and the narrator is just brilliant. But the world he's set up is really incredible. It's they're dystopian. It's the whole concept is that an alien race basically takes over the entire world, kills off most of the humans, and the ones that are still alive get put into what essentially is a live video game. So they have to go through levels, fighting against monsters as well as other humans, etc. To try to get out. They have to go through 18 levels to try to get out. Nobody's ever gotten out of the 18th level. And this man is stuck in there in his boxer shorts and no shoes. And he has his ex-girlfriend's very expensive, award-winning Persian cat with him. And she becomes, as part of the game, sentient. And she's on his team. So
sentient, just for our readers, sentient is she regains consciousness. So she starts
she can
to think
speak like a human. And
Yeah.
yes. So they're on the team together. But because she has more points than he has, they call the team is, Princess Donut's Royal Court. And he's part of the Royal Court. Like, just hilarious. But then goes through all these, trials and tribulations together.
And she becomes like a diva, and she's insupportable.
Oh, yes. Well, she's actually very easy for him to work with. But because she was an award-winning cat, they put all of this on intergalactic, I guess it would be, TV. And so she's like, I want to be on those talk shows, Carl. And he's like, okay. And she's like, I was born for this. It's the funniest thing.
So that's supposed to be the comic relief because you have aliens dominating the world and everybody's going to die. And so you
fighting
have a cat.
monsters and trying not to die. And you've got this cat it's the funniest.
And it's a reality show for the aliens.
Yes. Yeah. As all the humans trying not to die.
Okay. So actually in your book, Os Jogos dos Deuses, the games gods play, it's a reality show for the gods.
The gods, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm drawn to Carl's.
This genre. Okay.
Yep.
So Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinniman. There are 8 books. You've read them all?
I'm on book 2. So This is
Okay.
new. This is a new series for me.
Okay. So it's Carl. He was a coast guard and recently dumped by his girlfriend. And then the Persian cat, Princess Donut. Everything's like, it sounds like he's making fun of the reader. But then this is a huge success.
Oh, it is. Yeah. People love it. And
Other thing I learned about this, it was like, it's a wildly inventive, darkly hilarious, action-packed, lit RPG, and I had to see what it stands for.
Yeah.
Literary role-playing game saga. That's like reality show meets Hunger Games.
Yes. In a very video game-esque way. Like his eyes can see like a screen that tells him all the information, and he can keep his weapons stored, and it tells him what he's up against. And then they have the funny announcers that are like, you've entered the boss lair, and it's like, okay.
That's great to listen to.
It
rather
is.
than
It's
to
a
read.
fantastic audiobook.
He says the author, he's a writer, also an artist, a musician from Gig Harbor, Washington. He plays bass in 2 bands.
Oh, wow.
And he used to draw cat illustrations professionally. So that's partly how...
Where the cat came in.
Exactly. And he's known for his quirky personality, dry wit, and love of the absurd. And before becoming a full-time author, he published short stories, greeting cards, calendars, and...
I need
work.
his greeting cards in my life. That dark wit definitely comes across in the books.
And I'm reading this about him because he mentioned the audiobook, and he says himself that he's a big jerk for challenging his audiobook narrator, Jeff Hayes, with wild accents like Icelandic and Jamaican patois.
He did. And it's amazing. He does it. Like the narrator is spot on.
And does it have like sounds and no, the narration?
Not for the most part. It's all him doing it. It's
Wow.
yeah. And you can, because frequently with narrators, if they're doing it's a male narrator doing a female voice, you can tell that they're just, he does the cat as a girl, and it sounds like a girl.
Yeah. I've recently discovered audiobooks, and until now, I've listened to female narrators, and I realize when I understand perfectly when it's the guy or the elderly, And then recently, the last audiobook I've listened to, you had both narrators.
Yeah.
Because you have both POVs.
Yep.
So they had to hire a man and a woman.
And I have that for several of my books, because a lot of my books are dual POV. So you get dual. And then they have something called, what do they call it? There's a specific term for it, but it's where they have a full cast. So they cast all the different parts. And that's always fun too.
Once you're an audiobook reader, can you choose your narrators for your books?
A little bit. So what they do is they'll send me like 2 or 3 narrators for the part, and then I can choose from those. And if I don't love those, then they'll, find me more narrators. And part of it has to do with just who's available and the amount of time and who is, not completely booked. There's a few narrators at this point now that I've been listening to audiobooks long enough that I'm like, oh, I would really love to I want that narrator.
And you get to know them, like.
Yeah. So I've talked with several of my narrators, particularly around pronunciations of words and names. They need to know how to say names.
Same as me when I arrived. Lyra or Lyra?
Yes,
Lyra.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My editor and I debated that, whether it was Lyra or Lyra. I say Lyra because she's named after Apollo's lyre that soothed Hades.
But you don't say that in the book.
It's not in the book.
It's not?
No.
I wasn't asking. I was telling you. But your favorite captain, let me get back, Thrawn.
Yes.
His full name. I can't even tell you.
I don't think I could.
I have to show you that.
Yeah.
Myth
Yes.
Nuruodo.
It's an alien race. Yes. So, yeah, I don't think I could have done. Yeah. We just call him Thrawn.
Thrawn, yeah. Grand Admiral of the Empire, often outsmarting enemies through strategy rather than brute force.
Oh, he's so good.
Blue Guide. The Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinniman. So, if you were to reread one of these, which would be the Thrawn Star Wars series, Unbroken by Laura Hillenbrand, Dungeon Crawler Carl series, and Twilight?
I would probably reread the Thrawn series. That one's been a while since I've read it. I'd be curious to see if it hits in the same way this many years later. Would be very interesting. I think Unbroken is such an emotional toll. I don't know if I could put myself through that again. And Twilight, I'm still familiar enough with it that I remember, the majority of the story. So, yeah, I would probably do the Thrawn series, yeah.
Okay. And do you have, guilty pleasure or something like, for example, you read a lot of fantasy. Okay, now let's change genre. Mm-hmm. You have an escape to go to, or now I'm on vacation and I don't want to think about these worlds or these dystopias.
Generally, my escape is other romance genres, especially historical, because that's one that I don't know that I'll ever write. It's one of my favorite genres to read. Historical romance. But I also, so I have a favorite go-to author, which is, her name is Betty Neals, Neels. She was British and wrote through the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And she wrote something like 140, I want to say, just contemporary romance novels. And they are super sweet, just really heartwarming. They follow kind of a similar pattern in general, so you always know what you're going to get. Usually it is a down-on-her-luck heroine who meets a doctor who's very good at what he does, and, he takes her in. And so, and they're definitely, because they were written in those eras, it's almost like a little time capsule of reading what romance was considered in those days. And so that's fun too, but they're also just kind of quick, heartwarming, sweet reads that I can just be like, big sigh. And yeah.
Okay, I'll write that in the description.
So those are my guilty pleasure. I probably read more of those, and I think I have more of those on my Kindle than any other author, actually.
Betty Neals. I'll write it down in the description of this podcast. So the game Gods Play, it's beautiful. I'll show we'll take a picture and I'll show the pages and the picture. It's a gorgeous book.
It's beautiful. When they showed me the artwork for the US version, I was like, well, you've just checked off every author dream I've ever had about what a book should look like, and so I can just retire now. And they were like, maybe finish the series.
Please do. Okay, so now I have a surprise for you.
Oh.
In the end of this conversation, I always gift a book.
That's so nice. Yeah. I love that.
And considering a reader that you are, so this is not...
That's hard. I'm eclectic.
Exactly. So I asked for help. Okay, so I have 2 options.
Okay.
And I was like, maybe she read them. So this is risky. So that's why I have 2. So, one, for those who are listening to us,
The Shatter Me series is a worldwide bestseller with more than 8 million copies sold by Tahereh Mafi. Do you know the Shatter Me series?
I know them with the eyes on the covers.
Exactly, the eyes on the covers. Have you read them?
I haven't read them yet.
Okay, so that maybe
they are high on my list.
Okay, because I haven't read them also, but more than 8 million copies made me curious.
Yes.
So this is 10 years after the original story. So maybe it's not. I think you have to read it first. You can read it as a standalone, of course.
Yep.
But this is 10 years after the original story, so maybe for the fans. Then I have a plan B. Do you know, you've read V.E. Schwab?
Yes.
The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and all. So she has a recent romance, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. Have you read it?
I haven't read that one either. I haven't heard of that one yet.
It's an original romantasy, darker and more mysterious. And she's also known for 20 of her books and bestsellers.
Yes.
And it's also romance and more mature than the Shatter Me series.
Okay.
I think Shatter Me is more young adult.
Yes.
Okay. So, ta-da!
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. Thank you.
3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. So we have in 1532, a story about hunger, then a story about love in 1827 in London, and then a story about rage in 2019 Boston. This is a story about life, how it ends and how it starts again.
That sounds amazing. Addie LaRue was amazing, so I'm excited to read. She's a fantastic writer. I don't know which one I want. Oh, you're making it hard on me.
I thought you would choose V.E. Schwab because you haven't read the original Shatter Me series.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go V.E. Schwab just because I'm excited to read that. But the Shatter Me series is like, that's high on my romantasy list to read. For a long time, I didn't read anything in the genre I was writing at any given time. And what I found was that I don't want to accidentally absorb something. I don't think I would ever plagiarize, but it's more like I just don't want to have somebody else's voice in my head when I'm also writing. But what that happens then is that I'm so far behind on all the great books out there that I'm like, okay, I've got to come up with a new rule. So now my new rule is I don't write the same like specifics. So no Greek gods right now. I can't read anything else with Greek gods just so that I don't absorb.
Okay, because you're reading about them. You're writing about them.
Yeah.
So, Abigail Owen, the games the gods play. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this. This was really fun.
Me too.
Great
Thank
questions.
you. Thank you.
Oh, that was really cool.